Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Abubakar, removes Rivers CP Joseph Mbu, transfers him to the FCT. Northern elders declare their support for President Goodluck Jonathan's 2015 presidency. The Department of State Security Service, DSS, arrests ex-militant leader Alhaji Asari Dokubo. And the first formal meeting between Pakistan government and the Taliban holds in Islamabad. Well, all our top stories can be found on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. To get us on the move, visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. Do also interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android and Windows 8 platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap on the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions to share your report, pictures, and videos. The federal government has approved new appointments into agencies and parastatals. Veteran broadcaster Shola Omole is now the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, an organization he worked with for several years as a news anchor and presenter. Other appointments announced in a statement signed by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Reuben Abati, include former Chief of Army Staff and Acting Chairman of the Subsidy Reinvestment Program, SURE-P, retired General Martin Luther Agwai. He now takes over as the substantive chairman. Also approved is Alhaji Ladan Saliu as Director General, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. All the appointments are with immediate effect. The Max Oku-led faction of the All Progressive Grand Alliance has appointed the wife of the late Chukwuemeka Ojukwu, Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, as the new leader of the party. Addressing a news conference in Abuja at the end of the party's National Executive Committee, Acting National Publicity Secretary of the party, Stanley Chira, says the new appointment takes immediate effect. The party faction, however, frowned at the election timetable released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, saying it never consulted any of the political parties before announcing the dates for the 2015 general elections.
NEC reconfirms and further resolves the earlier decision taken on 16 February 2013 and on 22nd March 2013 at the one-year anniversary of the demise of our late leader and icon, Dean Chukwuemeka Ojukwu, that he remains our symbol and leader, the fact of his transit to glory notwithstanding. His wife and next of kin, Iyom Bianca Ojukwu, is hereby adopted as a living embodiment of his ideas. She shall in his stead be acknowledged as leader. INEC is considered empowered to issue timetable and schedule of activities for general election. However, the party urges INEC to maintain the old practice of consulting political parties before taking a decision.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Environment and Ecology, Senator Bukola Saraki, is not going back on his decision and that of his colleagues to leave the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He took this stance after the decision of the Senate to seek legal interpretation on whether or not to read the letter of defection sent to it by some senators seeking to pitch tents with the All Progressive Congress.
There's always been in the past that, when senators or members of the House, change their party for their own reason, that they do come to the floor and they indicate to the members that this is the right to the leadership and say, it is my wish to, move to this party in line with Section 68 of the Constitution, and the leadership reads it and it goes into the records of the Senate that, you have defected to another party.
would you be going back to the PDP now that there's a new chairman and everything is working?
A good friend of mine, a former colleague, is look. Ahmed is a nice chap. I wish him all the best. So he's saying all the right things. I heard him yesterday saying no imposition of candidates and all that. It's good, but it's a bit late. I've told you one of the mistakes the party made. The moment you're in a party and you believe that your wish or your interest is not being respected, there are some people in some room somewhere that don't know how the party is run can sit and change and make things. You lose the total confidence.
You head the ecological committee. What is your committee doing to stem the tide of some of those things?
What we've tried as much as possible to do, and I must admit that it's been very difficult, is to try and see that funds applied on some of those projects are properly utilized. Why people are not seeing a lot of benefit on the erosion side, that there are projects that in majority of the cases monies are not well best utilized, unfortunately. We again need to look at how to ensure that these projects are seen to completion. What do I mean by that? The projects cost 200-300 million. The budgeting capacity only allows you to do 30 million. You do 30 million. The next year, by the time you go back, the work you've done, right, the erosion has taken you all back. You're back to square one.
The former leader of the Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force, Asari Dokubo, has been released after his arrest earlier today by the Department of State Security, the DSS. Mr. Dokubo made an appearance at the DSS office in Abuja this morning with his lawyer after an invitation over what may be connected to his recent comments. The former Niger Delta activist was quoted as saying if President Jonathan fails to win the 2015 presidential election, militants in the region will cripple the country's economy and make it ungovernable. The DSS had earlier warned politicians and Nigerians against inciting comments. A former minister of the Capital Territory, Nasir El-Rufai, was also invited for questioning for several hours last month over making inciting comments. Now, the Ogun State High Court has fixed April the 3rd and 4th for the commencement of trial of the case brought against the former governor of the state, Benga Daniel, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over allegations of financial impropriety. According to the presiding judge, the decision is to allow parties in the case to prepare for the commencement of the trial after a long lull, occasioned by the defendant going to the appellate court sitting in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, to seek for the quashing of 13 of the 28-count charge referred against him. Earlier, the appeal court sitting in Ibadan had ruled over the 13-count charge bordering on illegal conversion of some state-landed property by the former governor, saying he has a case to answer. Still on legal matters, the Court of Appeal sitting in Kaduna has ordered the reinstatement of the district head of Gabasawa in Kano State, Alhaji Aminu Danagudi, who was removed from office in 2003. The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Adu Bayero, had removed the district head, who was one of the 4 kingmakers, on the grounds of insubordination and alleged partisanship. Not satisfied, Alhaji Danagudi proceeded to the Kano State High Court to challenge his removal. The High Court, presided over by Justice Gadi Mato, had in 2011 declared that the suspension and removal of the plaintiff as the traditional title holder of Sarkin Dawakin Metuta and district head of Gabasawa was carried out against the rules of natural justice and fair hearing, and therefore declared it as unlawful and null and void. But the Emir of Kano and the Kano Emirate Council were dissatisfied by the verdict of the High Court and challenged the same at the Appeal Court in Kaduna. But in a 25-minute unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Teresa Orji Abadua, the Appellate Court upheld that the title of Sarkin Dawakin Metuta was not at the discretion of the Emir of Kano, noting that the title was hereditary, going by the approval given by the state government in 1990. The President says his administration is poised to do all in its power to ensure that markets across the country are modernized to boost trade as the lifeline of the economy. President Goodluck Jonathan made this remark when he commissioned an ultra-modern market said to be the first of its kind in the Federal Capital Territory. He emphasized the need to make Abuja an enviable city that Nigerians can be proud of and called on the private sector not to relent in supporting the administration. State House correspondent Chukwuma Onwekusi reports.
Residents of Abuja can boast of one more market, this time an ultra-modern market said to be the first of its kind in West Africa. Located in the Uyo district of the Federal Capital Territory, the market is occupying a large expanse of land, and the commissioning of the market, constructed under the Build, Operate and Transfer arrangement, attracted the President and the First Lady. Here you have over 2,000 shops, some in duplex. The President describes it as a New Year gift to market women. He observed that growth in the country comes from internal trade, a situation that calls for government action.
More than 6.5 trillion naira of economic activity in our country came from domestic trade alone. This is indeed significant, not just because of the value involved, but because of the millions of Nigerians that have benefited through this. Ladies and gentlemen, with this growth in trading activities, Nigeria must now begin to organize and modernize our markets. And that's why we are quite happy with what we're seeing today. The successful execution of the project demonstrates the commitment and capacity of government to synergize with the private sector in the execution of essential infrastructural projects that are beneficial to our people.
He was joined by the First Lady for the commissioning proper, as well as the unveiling of a block named after the First Lady in the market. Minister of Trade and Investment and that of the Federal Capital Territory are excited that the project is in line with the domestic policy of government, promising to replicate this across the country. The Market Women Association and the developers said they are happy for what has happened to them. They appreciate the government for involving them in the construction of the market.
This is the first time in history of Nigeria that a president is interacting with less privileged people in the society. Nobody give us money to trade. Nobody give us anything. Nobody answered bad luck. Now good luck they answer. And good luck will reach all of us.
Speeches that attracted a warm embrace from the President and the First Lady. The ultra-modern market, started in 2004, has been completed 10 years after. It is amongst the numerous projects scattered across the country awaiting commissioning. The concern here is that the facilities will be put into proper use. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, 2 people survive early morning accident in Maryland, Lagos. Do join